The fourth problem asks, how would we find any of the quantities V naught, Vf, and delta V if we knew the other two? Well, the relationships among these quantities are pretty obvious, and of course we can always be sure that we're getting them if we set them up algebraically. So the delta means final minus initial. So delta V is Vf minus V naught. And we can rearrange this, solve for V naught to get this, solve for Vf to get this one, solve for V naught to get this one, and these three statements would cover us. Okay, that would be an answer to the questions, very straightforward. Other questions of this nature, if we know two of the three quantities, delta S, delta T, and V bar, how would we find the third? Okay, and from the definition of average velocity, you get a very simple relationship there. V bar is delta S over delta T. And then that can be rearranged to find delta S or delta T, if you know the other two. So that's the type of question we have here. It's just asking you basically what you do if you run through a reasoning process to solve one of these problems. Okay. You could also do this in words. You could say the final velocity is the sum of the initial and the change in velocity. You add the change in velocity to the initial velocity to get the final velocity. You could say it in any of a number of ways. You could say, well, to get the initial velocity, we subtract the change from the final. Okay, the final minus the change gives you the initial. And that can be said in many, many different ways. So that's fairly straightforward, but there are a number of questions of this nature that could appear on the test. Remember that there are well over 100 problem types, so not sure what the probability of getting one of these is on a test. It's going to occur. It's not going to occur in a majority of tests, but there's a significant minority that would occur on, and that's going to be the case for any of these problems. Anyhow, it's kind of a cause for joy if you get that one.